Alright, so I know it's been a minute since I made a video, but I wanted to get on here and kind of share what I've been going through. Because it says in the Bible that iron sharpens iron, and it's the same way for our life. When we share what we're going through, even if we're still in it, we just share experience from things that happen in our life and share it with other people. It sharpens other people. And it's like listening to old people that's lived a long time. They're gonna have more wisdom than somebody that's 18 years old because they've had way more life experience. And so I wanted to share this to help other people and to also help myself to stay encouraged, because I'm still going through what I'm talking about. But what I want to talk about is, don't find your confidence in anything but the Lord. And when He asks you to do something, step out in faith. Because when God asks you to do something, more than likely it's going to be impossible and it's going to be outside of your ability. And if you look to your abilities to overcome whatever He's asked you to do, then it is impossible. But when you look to Him, it's not impossible. Like when Moses, when he split the Red Sea, if Moses would have been looking to his abilities in order to get away from the army, he would have never made it to the other side. But he had faith that God was going to do something impossible to get him to the other side. And He did. He split the Red Sea. And so if we're looking to our own abilities, then we're never going to have confidence when it comes to something impossible that God is asking us to do. Or not even when it's just something God's asking us to do. When something bad comes our way and it looks like there's no way for us to get over that barrier, then if we look to our own abilities, it's going to be impossible. When we look to Him, we have faith and we trust and we know that He can do it. But sometimes it is hard to not look at yourself because you don't feel qualified, or you don't feel like you have the abilities to do what it is that He's asking you to do. And that's where I'm at right now. But that scripture that says, I was just thinking, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So that scripture, if we go through life and we never have something impossible that comes up, and we never step out into that uncomfortable and into the impossible, then we can't even say we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, because we don't have a revelation on that. We don't understand it. Like, it's like, why would you need that scripture if you're not going to do what is impossible to do? Like, you're never going to have a revelation. Like, that scripture is never going to come to life until you do that. Because I can sit here and I can say, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. But when God brings something impossible in front of me, and He takes me through the Red Sea or whatever it is, He takes me through it, and I know that it was not in my ability to do it, then that scripture is going to mean so much more. When I read that scripture, I'm going to remember the time that I went through something that was literally impossible for me to do. And I can say we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Because He showed me, like, when you experience that scripture, that's a different thing. But in order to experience that scripture, we have to step out in faith. And what I'm struggling with right now is stepping out in faith. But where I went wrong, not necessarily being scared to step out in faith, because it's hard to step out in faith. I'm not gonna lie. but I'm still looking at my own abilities to even step out into faith instead of. So where I went wrong was when he brought me to that impossible place, when he asked me to do something that I felt like I wasn't qualified to do, or that was outside of my ability. I kept looking at myself, and when I kept looking at myself, it caused me to try to take another route. And instead of staying there and focusing on God instead of focusing on me and just praying about what he asked me to do, I started focusing on different things in my life, not necessarily, or not even not necessarily, it wasn't sinful things, but it was like hobbies and things like that. I started focusing all of my time. I don't know, it kind of sounds crazy, but that's what I did. I started focusing on my desires instead of on what God desired for me to do. And I started trying to kind of do my own thing, but at the same time, I still had a relationship with God. Like I was in I was in the Bible daily, and I was praying, but at the same time, I'm not, in my head, I'm like, I'm not doing that. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. And instead of facing that fear, I started taking a different route, like I said. But I just wanted to get on here to encourage people. Don't take a different route. Like if God told you to do something, I don't care how impossible it looks. And I'm saying this to myself because I need to hear it right now. Just step out in faith. And if you can't take the step and you don't know where to go to the secret place, which is prayer and seeking God. And seek him, not just to do your own thing in life, but seek him. And if you can't take that step, you feel like you can't, ask him to help you to take the step. Don't live your life for God. Don't add him into your life, because that's where I kind of went wrong. It was like I was adding him into my life, but I wasn't letting him live through me, because he's in my life now. I accepted him. I gave him my life so I could receive him into mine. So therefore, I gave him the things I wanted to do, my desires. I want to do the things that he's called me to do. I don't want to live my own way and do my own thing. I want to do what he's called me to do. And just because it's not sinful for me to go do these other things, that's not what he wants me to do. That's not where he wants me to be, and it's not going to be fruitful if I focus on those things. And the same thing goes for you. Surrender your life. When you surrender your life to him, you give him your life. Like your life is no longer about what you want to do, or what you want to focus on, or what you want your life to be about, or what career goals you have. If God has something different for you and you know for a fact, then you have to step into that, or you won't be fruitful. That's just the truth. Because when God has a calling on you, or a calling, whatever he's told you your calling is, or if he's revealed it to you and you know it, you can't veer off from that path. Like you need to step out in faith, and you need to do the things he's telling you to do, even if it makes you uncomfortable, even if you're scared to do it. Because when Peter stepped out of the boat, so when Peter and all the guys were in the boat and they were going across the lake, and they seen Jesus walking on the water, they thought it was a ghost. And a lot of times God will speak to us and we won't even realize that it's him speaking. But we have to ask like they did. They said, they thought it was a ghost. I said, it's me. And they knew when he said it's me, they knew it was Jesus. So a lot of times he will give us something, or tell us to do something, show us our calling, whatever it is. But a lot of times we're like, I'm not sure about that. But ask God, is it you? He will show you, just like he did with Peter and them when they were in the boat. He said, it's me. When he said that, Peter said, if it's you, let me come out onto the water with you, into the unknown, into a place where Peter is going to feel uncomfortable, because it is beyond his abilities to walk on that water. And every single step that he takes after he gets out of that boat is impossible without God. And when he took that step, when he took that first step out of the boat, every step behind that step is impossible. And he had to stay focused on him in order for each step that he took. If he took his eyes off of Jesus, when he took his eyes off of Jesus, his steps started sinking. The distractions, when he took his eyes off of God, he started sinking, because what he was doing was impossible. He was in the unknown, in a place where everything that he was doing was impossible for him to do without God. But when he went under the water, Jesus grabbed him by the hand and pulled him up and said, why did you have so little faith? Because a lot of times when we get out into the unknown, when we step out of the boat into the unknown, into the place where we feel uncomfortable, if we start looking at the things the enemy's bringing up, if you start looking at your own abilities instead of focusing on him, when you're out there in the unknown already, and every step that you've took so far is impossible for you to even take without him, and you start taking your eyes off of him, you're going to start sinking. You're going to start looking at the waves and looking at the rain, looking at the wind. And I mean, we should know better, because every step we took so far is already impossible. So we just got to stay focused on him and just take that step of faith. Just take another step. And in order to take that step, we have to be focused on him. So that's what I want to make the video about, just for myself and for other people. And I just encourage you to take that step of faith, whatever it is, and just stay focused on him. Stay in the word every day. Stay praying every day, and just spending time with the Lord, and letting him lead your life and not adding him into yours. But that's it for the video. I don't know when I'll make another one, but